So I kind of wanted to make a little video about the stimulations that I went through, and I also was shown like the envisioning of like my past life. So I also, when I was shown that, I kind of remembered some things as well, and yeah, I just remember like in my past life, like when the reptilians came and started to kill our tribe, they killed one of the kids and sucked his brains out. And I remember one day, like, we also had gone through famine. We were out of food. And then we one day just gathered around this tree. And it was like, in the desert. And I remember there was just this tree. And it just was always in the middle of the desert. Always was this tree. And then there was just like the desert. And there was this mountain like in the distance. And I remember we all gathered around this tree. And then we all kind of were like getting ready to fight. And we're like jumping up and down and kind of getting ready to go. And yeah, we had to then like run through the desert and then climb this mountain. At the same time, I remember the sun was around, and the sun was like there was another sun that was coming towards and everything. So I remembered it like heating up to like 200 degrees, and we were all running through the desert. It was all of us, right? And I remember people started to like disintegrate. They started to just disintegrate, and the sun was so hot. I just remember it being so hot, and we were just running, and like people started to disintegrate. Like I remember like my like I don't know, it was interesting. Like, yeah, the people that were running with us, some of them disintegrated. And I remember like before we started running through the desert, young Pharaoh made me some shoes. They were like handmade and everything. It was like handmade shoes. But yeah, during the stimulation, they were also like, yeah, they were disintegrating. So certain people were disintegrating. Not everybody, but certain people were. And like, it was so hot, and we were running through the desert. And then I remember, tons of reptilians just kept coming towards us and all these things. And, we had to keep running. And there were also these like booby traps and everything. And there was like a reptilian army, and they had shields, but this was like the old school fight. So we fought with just shields and, shields, hands, and just, ancient way. Like it was, like that. So I was able to fight and keep fighting. And I don't know, we just kept fighting and running. And I just remember like being all these reptilians, I guess. And there were also snakes and everything coming towards us. And I remember like I ended up getting bit by the snake at one point. That I kind of like lost being in the spirit. I got out of the spirit like mentally or something. And yeah, so and then I remember young Pharaoh had to like carry me for a while, and he had to fix my foot. He had to cut some slits into my foot to drain the snake venom. And then he had to like carry me for a while, and we had to keep running and keep going. And then we ran up through that mountain. Like we climbed all the way up this mountain, and it was like a long climb. I just remember it being really hard, and me and young Pharaoh were climbing, and we had to keep climbing. There were a few reptilians on the mountain too, like getting up there. And I remember like it was this long journey like through the desert, and it was all of us as well. And then we all met at the top of this like mountain, and there was like a deep lava pit up there. And I remember some of this, yeah, it was like weird because it was a stimulation I also had gone through, that I was shown, as well as this being a past memory. So I was shown this through the envisioning, and some of it being a past memory. And I remember all of a sudden this this dragon like beast was above me, and I remember going into labor and having to like breathe or something like that. And it was like a sudden labor, like. And then I remember all of a sudden I was like able to fly or something on this stimulation, like. But then I guess I ended up not being able to fully like fly right or something. Like I don't know what happened, but at the end of the like envisioning exercise, when the aliens woke me up, and I had this like cap thing on my head, and they had told me that because I ate steak the night before, something like that, that I wasn't able to like fly properly or something, to fly away from this beast. So, yeah, so this was what I was shown. And the brown reptile had explained to me that I really was really like 12 feet tall, like something really tall, or like 8 feet tall. Yeah, I think he said 8 feet tall was how tall I really was. And he explained that the Anunnaki were like 9 feet, 11 feet, and that they would kill like all of all of like humanity, all of the population he had explained. But yeah, pretty much. So I was shown this envisioning exercise, and then we had got brought through another stimulation. So one of the reasons I believe Young Pharaoh works in the Galactic Federation is because, yeah, there are some humans that work on the ship, and I know he was in that outfit with the Star Trek outfit, and he was being brought through these stimulations with me for some reason. Like, I just know I was laying down, and there was a screen in front of me, and I have that in another one of my drawing videos that it's drawn out and everything. But yeah, this envisioning stimulation was with Young Pharaoh, and it was like the modern type of stimulation versus that old ancient style. So this was where we had to run through this, basically a forest like, and it was really, really hard, nearly impossible. There were these planes, they had lasers, they had guns, like all this different technology. So it wasn't like the ancient, battle where it's hands and, just simple like knives or whatever. It was like really complicated, and pretty much it was almost like impossible. Like, we basically almost couldn't get away during the simulation, and it was really scary. Like, I remember Young Pharaoh's telling me to hold my breath and like breathe, to turn myself into a tree, because we had the abilities to do that, to shapeshift a little bit. So he had taught me to just do that for a minute, and then that way we were able to not be seen. But basically, honestly, it was near like impossible. Like it was really hard. And I just remember then being woken up after that, it was just that little bit of a stimulation of this like modern Armageddon, and I think we almost basically got killed, like, and it just was, yeah, nearly impossible. So I just kind of wanted to share this and share kind of a little bit of the kind of envisioning simulations, a lot of them just being survival stuff. And then I had been brought through another, more so of a modern Armageddon, where we were running through more of a grassy area, and it was the same. It was planes and all these things, and like they had guns and all that, and but we were able to beat it. So we were able to still like kind of like make it and beat and everything. And it was weird because during the stimulation, I totally forgot to draw this out, but when I needed water, like the water was falling through the sky, kind of like, and I guess it was based on like how much water I had drank in my real life. And the foods that I ate in my real life were the foods that were coming down during running through these like deserts and through this whole like whatever. So like basically, I used to eat pork, so when I had ate pork, like a whole pig came down, and he had explained to me that basically we're not supposed to eat pork, we're not supposed to eat shellfish, seeds. He especially explained, after the simulation, Young Pharaoh sat to me and he explained to me, he said, we don't eat seeds, and we do not eat any seeds or nuts at all, to not eat any seeds or nuts. So, I just wanted to go ahead and share that a little bit, and I'll go ahead and make some more drawings on it and talk more about it. Yeah, because it was really interesting, these simulations. So yeah, I'll probably draw pictures of how it went with like the food and the water coming through, and yeah, it was all really interesting. And then also like shape shifting kind of as well, like into animals to be able to fight and survive and stuff. So I'll go ahead and try to draw more of that. And yeah, so I just want to go ahead and share this. And yeah, so this is the envisioning simulations I had gone through. And yeah, so I always do remember though this past place, the the tree area, like that's what I always remember. Was we had this desert, I lived in this desert, and we had this, it was always like these trees, there were a few of these trees, but it was always this one main tree that was there. Then we had an ocean, and the mountain was all the way far, like in the distance, but we had to go so far to get to the mountain. We had to, like, it took us days. We had to basically fight through the desert for days. It was like days, like a journey that was, I don't know how many days it was, but it was like days, and we had to like camp out. And then at the same time, at nighttime, the reptilians were coming. So me and Young Pharaoh were like in a tent. We had to like get up at night, pack up. And I mean, it was hard in the ancient fight too. And then the modern one just seemed really hard with the stimulation thing or whichever. So yeah, so I just want to go ahead and share this. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a good day.